Ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry. I'm running a little bit late. I'm actually running a lot a bit late. But look at the surprise we got here. Bill Apter came in early. Aaron the Idol Stevens, for some reason, showed up on time. And now we got them both here. So we're just going to, what the hell? We'll just have some. I'm wearing my sunglasses, guys, because my eyes are worn out. I look like I've been beat up by Mike Tyson or somebody. I showed them off.
Mike Tyson, I'd like to see that fight. Well, I want to get Kenny Bolin.
Yeah.
Kenny Bolin's like my favorite opponent.
The great thing about it is if he cut that promo on me and I didn't have to see him, I'd probably take him up on the fight. And then I'd see him and go, oh, wait a minute. What in the hell did I just get into?
Three steps of doom.
The 3 steps of doom.
That'd be your only hope.
That hasn't been brought up in a long time. Who was it that was wanting to bow up on me in the back? And Jimmy said if he gets 3 steps, he's dead.
I don't know who it was, but that's.
Oh, you know who it was? It was God dang, he was Johnny Nitro's partner. What was his name?
Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury.
Oh yeah, Joey Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury. Yeah. Mercury was smart mouthing me one day about something, and I said, Jimmy, I said if he pops off of me again, I'm going to drive him through that wall. And he says, well, if you get 3 steps on him, he's dead. The 3 steps of doom, Jimmy called it.
And you actually. I saw the 3 steps of doom
that
one time. I won't say who it was on, but it was on a family member.
Simmons and Butch Reed and Teddy Long.
Yeah.
It was on a family member, huh?
And they wanted to challenge. And you know what? I think I have to subscribe to the 3 steps of doom theory to where, for those of you that don't know, it's when if King was to get 3 steps and get his center of gravity right.
Yeah. Right.
If he makes contact and once he starts driving, right?
Yeah.
If there is
there ain't no stopping it once that 3 steps goes.
Yeah, and he gets the shoulder. That's it. I mean, you're going to be dealing with something, whether it's falling down, a broken rib, maybe worse. Who knows? So that's
something's got to give.
See, and I thought you were talking about Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
Yeah. We had Ron Simmons in OVW for a little bit of time, along with JBL. Yeah. And JBL was going to try to be on the show tonight, but he's on a 10-hour drive from Maine. Everybody you know is up northeast, Aaron. Chris is up there. JBL's up in Maine.
Crazy.
But he said he's going to try to pop in if he can get a signal.
Wow, that's cool.
So I don't know if he'll make it in during this hour, but I said when you get in, just pop in and we'll throw you up. So awesome. We'll see how it goes. So Mr. Apter, the first time ever on the Bowling Alley, I have been on your show an estimated 133 times. What the hell is that?
That might have been the turkey burger I just had.
Man, I don't know. Do we know what home that's coming from?
No, it's not here.
Aaron, is your stomach all right?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I don't know what that sound is. JJ's not in here, so it's not him in the background. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Always loved Idol. Oh, DJ Eric. You remember Fat Eric, right?
I do.
Yeah. Fat Eric from OVW. Aaron, you remember Fat Eric? He was at every.
I saw him, I would. I probably would.
He was at every show, especially in the new building, which is probably he was in every show. And he's a DJ now, so he's DJ Eric, and he's the historian. He's the historian in here. If you want to know about a match, yeah, you probably met him, because you were down here for Six Flags.
Yes,
a few times, I believe.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Okay,
and appreciate you coming in here early, Mr. Bill Apter. I will refer to you as Bill. How long have you been associated with the wrestling business?
Well, if you want to start with me as a fan.
Yeah,
my fan days started in the mid-'60s.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been in the business end of it, in the publishing end of it, since 1970. So yes, I did photograph Abraham Lincoln against Frank Gotch.
Yeah, who went over in that one?
I have to kayfabe the result.
I had a feeling.
Actually, it was a draw. Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln was counted out because he went to run for the presidency.
Yeah, my son's a bit of an historian, and he says Abe Lincoln is actually traced back to the original origins, not oranges, as a famous president once said, the original origins of the NWA heavyweight title. Would you go along with that?
Yes,
Yeah?
I've heard
Yeah,
that.
I've heard the same thing. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But I've been. I started out doing. I wanted to be in the entertainment field as an entertainer, and I bought time on a New York radio station. I was interviewing celebrities, and then I got some tickets to a wrestling show, and because I was a big wrestling fan, and I went and I interviewed Bruno Sammartino, Chief Jay Strongbow, Mike Pappas, and a whole bunch of other guys in the dressing room, and that became a regular feature on my celebrity interview show in New York, and people loved it. It was right on drive time, 5:30 in the afternoon.
So you were the first you were the first wrestling podcast on FM radio then.
Actually, it was but there was no such thing as a podcast back then.
Not back then.
No platforms, right? There were really no platforms. You had radio and television, correct?
That's it.
Yeah, there was no internet back in those days.
Telegraph.
No cell phones.
Yeah, right.
Pigeons came in handy back then in case you needed to get a letter to somebody in a hurry.
Exactly.
Attach it to
special
a pigeon.
Delivery.
Carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
This is a good time to bring this up. Let me bring this up so we can all get our stuff in on this. What is this? Is Brad Kenny was the voice that knocked some sense into me to get the vaccine shot. Well, good. I'm glad that worked out. If I can just get Vince Russo to listen to me, I'll be making some real progress. So thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. This was the one I wanted to bring out. They wanted my memories, but I think all three of us definitely. We lost three legends in a row, man. We lost Jody Hamilton one day, we lost Burt Prentice the next, and then my dear friend Bobby Eaton the following.
Also, Ted Lewin, the brother of Mark Lewin.
Oh yeah. I heard Jimmy talk about Mark Lewin all the time.
And Paul Orndorff recently.
Yeah, Paul Orndorff recently, and then of course Donna, Bobby's wife. And Bill Dundee must be having a hell of a time right now.
I couldn't even imagine what he's feeling.
His assistant, Rex Luthor is what he goes by, called me and said that Bill's doing about as good as can be expected. I asked him if he knew the cause of death of Bobby. He says, not really. He says, but you got to know, he says, Bobby had a pacemaker. He was dealing with diabetes. And he said the loss of Donna was just unbelievable for him to deal with because they lived together.
They were the same. He and Donna were the same type of person. They were all very gentle people and had a wonderful heart.
Would give you anything if they had nothing. They would find a way to give you something.
One of my correspondents was from OneWrestlingVideo.com was having some psychological issues, and he hooked up with Donna, and she talked him through made a lot of sense to him. So yeah, she was terrific. She was absolutely terrific. And Bobby, Bobby, I knew back from when he first started, and I mentioned this on a video I did the other day. My memories with of Bobby Eaton is that when my first marriage fell apart, I had known Bobby just basically in the Crockett territory. We were, hey Bill, hey Bobby, this type of thing. He'd always grab me around and hug me and all this. When she and I divorced, every night for a week, and I didn't even know where he got my phone number from, he called me, are you okay? Every night. Yeah. And I never forgot him for that.
Wow. The Bobby was, and I've talked about this on a couple of other shows, and I even made a Twitter post about it. As you know, me and Cornette have not spoken a word in the better part of 4 years. A lot of that has to do with my working relationship I had with Vince Russo, my lack of not wanting relationship with Brian Last, and a lot of things built up where Jimmy and I haven't spoken 4 years. So I actually reached out to call Jimmy yesterday, and he did not answer my call. But Christopher told me about 2 months ago, he says, because I don't know if you know this or not, but Jimmy recently sent an email to somebody wishing me dead so that he could kill my son. And that was kind of hard. That was kind of hard to forgive. But Chris come to me about 2 months ago. He said, Dad, he says, if Bobby Eaton came to me and he says, hey, this is bullshit. Y'all go to his house, shake his damn hand and put this shit behind you two. He says, Dad, because Bobby asked me to do it, I'd do it. He said, that's how sweet a man Bobby is. If Bobby would ask me to forgive Jimmy, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I don't know if I have a guy that could motivate me to do that, but I guess if anybody could, because Bobby just had that way with you. If Bobby told you to do something, he was telling you from the bottom of his heart, and you had to do it. And Aaron, I'm sure you worked with Bobby quite a bit, right?
No, believe it or not.
I thought he was a trainer when you were there, but he must have worked right after you came in.
No, I didn't even know he was a trainer there.
Yeah, he was an assistant trainer at the old building, but I don't recall if he was at the new.
I remember that old building.
And what, they just didn't want to keep him? Like they didn't want to.
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Oh my God! Wow.
Bobby was just gold in the ring with anybody. And
well, that's the thing. Like, you know, it's funny to me because my earliest memories of him, of course, is with Jimmy and the Midnights and everything. And this was later on, so this was past, you know, the rock and rolls versus the Midnights and the heat of the moment thing. But you know, of course, right, like the Alabama Jam and everything like that. But I got to meet him.
Or as Bobby told us behind the scenes, it was called the hemorrhoid hop. He said, thanks to that move, he could never get over hemorrhoids. So it was called the hemorrhoid hop, according to Bobby.
That's funny. Oh my God! But no, I met him that I can recall. There was a show from Mitch Ryder. It was before I went to Puerto Rico, and Bobby was on the show, and it was just really like, hey, how are you, sir? Nice to meet you. But you know, I put something up on Instagram to where, like, you know, when you're in the wrestling business for as long as he was, you know, and we're talking north of 40 years.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever recall anyone saying a bad word about him or hearing anyone saying a bad word.
How many of us in the business can have that said about us? Because I know
no matter what,
I've rubbed a few people the wrong way.
No matter what the business brought his way, whether people knocked anything he did or anyone else did, no matter what the politics were, he always stayed on the sweet side of everything.
Always.
He knew, and it wasn't like he was playing politics. This is the type of person that Bobby Eaton was.
Bobby would strike me as the person that he would not know what a Democrat, Independent, or a Republican was. What's that?
Good.
Yeah. There's not many people that get to lay that claim, but I can assure you, Bobby, if we was to talk politics, well, he wouldn't know what the hell y'all talking about. What's it matter?
I might, but I don't talk about it.
Well, you know what? Maybe that's what made him a good person, because everything is so damn politicized nowadays. Like it is. You know, and I'm not gonna have a soapbox, but like, you know, the Bobby Eatons of the world. Yeah. I think this goes on both sides, like the left and the right, where if you have someone that's just kind to everybody, one side will try to like attack them for being kind to the opposite side.
What does he want?
And like, you know, Bobby kind of had that basic human decency, right? I mean, from what I'm understanding of him, and I think that's really lost.
You did not want to get on his bad side though, because I saw that side of it too. Saw it in in New Orleans. There was a fan. I was down doing the tour with Jimmy and Dennis Condrey. And we're at the we're not at the Superdome, but we're at one of the other arenas there. I forget the name of the building.
The building, like right next to it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the night we were there, as we're leaving, they had so much heat back then. You had to get out of the building when the match was over. So they cheated to win, and of course, there's no time to shower. You're not screwing around. You got to get out of the building because the heat's bad. So as Bobby and Dennis, Jimmy, and myself are leaving the building, we're driving my blue Thunderbird back then. A fan spits on Bobby. Well, Bobby turns around and sees the fan that spit on him, and he pointed at him like, "You're dead, mofo." I don't know how much Bill Apter cusses, but I cuss a lot. You're dead, mofo.
I don't cuss at all.
I cuss a lot. I'll do plenty for all three of us.
I don't know any cuss words.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I learned a few from you. So he points at the fan. He says, "You're a dead mofo." And I'm looking like, Bobby, there's no chance in hell you're going to see this guy again. Let's get out of here. He's up there. You're down here. I want you to know that we get to a red light, and Bobby's driving my blue Thunderbird. I'm in the passenger seat. Jimmy and Condrey are in the back. We get to this long ass red light, and Bobby sees in the car ahead of us. I don't know how he knew it was him, or maybe it wasn't, but he thought it was. He says, "Kenny, keep the car running." So he gets out of the car and he goes up. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "That's the mofo that spit on me," in the car in front of us. Bobby gets out. He goes up to the driver's side door, and he's pummeling the shit out of this door. He's kicking it. He's hitting it. He's beating it. Then he goes to the passenger door. Nobody's opening their damn doors. There's 4 or 5 of them in there. Bobby's by himself. I look at Dennis. I said, Dennis, I said, shouldn't we get out there and help him? He said, no, he's all right. He don't need us. Yeah. He's got it. And I'm looking at him. I said, what? He's not. And Jimmy said, Bobby's got it. So Bobby pummels all 4 doors of that car. The light has turned green. So finally the car's in front of the car that's blocking him. They finally move. Bobby has pummeled all 4 doors of this car, trying to get to the man that spit on him, or at least he thinks he's the guy. Bobby was convinced. I said, Bobby, how could you tell it? It was him. It was him. So he gets back in the car. His knuckles are all banged up and everything from beating on the car. But no, you did not want to get on Bobby's bad side.
No, you know what? You know what? After he did that to the car, I drove away.
Well, that was wise to do.
You didn't realize
wise of you to do. I mean, you could have filed an insurance claim. You could have sued Bobby. You did the decent thing to do, and you just drove away and lived to drive your car.
No, Bobby could have that type of attitude.
Did you ever see it? Because that was the only time I saw him really go off. But Jimmy told me a few stories.
I spent tons of time with him in Jim Crockett Promotions, and he was a great. He wasn't a conversationalist unless he really started to bring up a subject he might have been interested in, which was always the business. But he always listened. He never argued with whoever was doing finishes or whatever. There was never any arguments or anything. It was just he loved what he did, and he did his job, and he really enjoyed it. And you could see in the ring that he enjoyed doing this. When I was at ringside shooting pictures, it's funny how some of the guys, and Bobby was one of them, would always, if he had the guy in the headlock, kind of cheat around with the guy in the headlock and make sure that I got a picture.
Make sure you get the good picture.
And he'd move.
Yeah, that would be Bobby. Bobby would do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and yet he wasn't one of these publicity seekers, but he always knew what I was looking for.
Yeah. We were backstage once, and we had met George Steinbrenner earlier that day, and George Steinbrenner at the George Steiner Braidport Inn took me and Jimmy out to dinner. He took us to the Red Lobster. People think Steinbrenner was being a cheap ass by taking us there. We thought he was a big spender. I mean, me and Jimmy would have been at McDonald's or Wendy's.
I mean, cheddar biscuits. Come on.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what? Actually, because I'm not a seafood guy. But when I was traveling with someone,
you live in Boston and you're not a seafood guy.
No,
I hate seafood.
But do you know?
I love fish.
Red Lobster has one of the best steaks I've ever eaten.
Really?
Wow. I've had their chicken parm. It's very
good. My son's had the chicken parm there. He loves chicken parm with a passion.
Yeah. We've talked about that. Yeah.
I only eat 2 kinds of seafood: chicken at the sea and bumblebee.
And Bumblebee. Okay. All right. As a matter of fact, Aaron, you're going to love this. Christopher ate at a steakhouse today. He sent me a bunch of pictures of it. He ate at Ken's Steakhouse in the Boston area.
Absolutely. I know exactly where that is.
And we buy their sauces all the time. I buy their honey mustard and a few other things. And I didn't know that it was a real restaurant. So Chris sent me these pictures of it, sent me the menu. He said, he said, Dad, I know that you would want to be here eating this. I said, hell yeah. Ken's Steakhouse, they should be paying me some money.
You guys were talking about Boston, and when my first trip there in the early 70s, I went out to have dinner with Bobby Shane, and we went to an Italian restaurant called Palcari's, and it was like the best Italian food I ever had. And I found out that Palcari was named after a mayor that they had in Boston way back. And I don't think the restaurant's there anymore. But I never forgot that restaurant.
Now, is Bobby Shane the guy that Lawler stole the King gimmick from?
He didn't steal it. He was.
Well, it was actually handed to him.
Yeah. Bobby died in a
plane crash.
Yeah, it was very tragic.
I guess it's kind of hard to steal it if the guy gave it to you and then he died in a plane crash before he could take it around.
Bobby was one of the first people. I know we're off topic a little, but he was one of the first people who ever smartened me up, because he was talking about getting over with the Boston crowd, and he was not a WWF guy. He was brought in for one shot, but he said, it takes 2 to tango. It
does.
If the other guy will give me, then I'll. So that I was kind of like, I didn't ask him, that's but it was like the beginning of people smartening me up.
Now, how old were you when you thought you were starting to get smart to the business?
Well, that was 1972.
And they were open with you about it, other than Bobby. 72?
1972.
I was 12 years old then. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. The Jimmy, and he will deny this to his dying day, but Jimmy, the day he got into the wrestling business, did not know what go home meant, but neither did I, so I can't say anything. But Jimmy thought world title matches were real.
Which Jimmy are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jimmy Cornette.
Oh, yeah. The wrestling fan will tell you, hey, you know, Bill Apter, wrestling is fake. Except the title matches.
Except those title matches.
Matches, they're real.
Well, I used to get similar stories when I worked at Kroger. The people knew that I was aspiring to be in the wrestling business one day, and you want to do that fake old stuff? And I said, well, yeah. So Tojo come in Kroger one day to cash a check on his way to Rupp Arena. I was going to join him at Rupp Arena and go see the show. So Tojo and Coco Ware pull over to cash a check. Well, later that night, Kroger gets robbed. Cornette said that Tojo and Coco were going to get blamed for it because Coco was the first black man ever seen in LaGrange, and with a Japanese guy, so they were obviously going to get blamed because they weren't white guys from LaGrange. But I remember I came back to the store the next day, and he said, "Now those Tojo matches, those were all real." I said, "Well, yeah, well, of course those were." Yeah.
I remember Killer telling me that, like when I was just starting to break in, how Killer would be like, you know, people would say wrestling's fake, but your match was real. Your match was real. So it's interesting, right? Like that era to where the public was kind of starting to get smart or starting to suspect that something was up, but then they were allowing themselves to be like, oh no, but that was real. Like we there may be some things, but oh no, that match.
In my head at 13, 14 years old, when I thought I was starting to figure stuff out, is that if any matches had to be rigged, it had to be the title matches, because you got to determine who's going to go all over the country, defend the belt, this, that, and the other. It just so happens he's on a 119-week winning streak or whatever, and no one else can take him.
Were you talking about Killer Kowalski?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Green Arrow.
There's an interview on YouTube. If you put in Bill Apter interviews Killer Kowalski, I have all my old cassette tapes back from the 70s when I did interviews with the guys from my radio show. And one of the best interviews I ever did, I asked Kowalski, I said, do you regret ripping off Yukon Eric's ear? And what his answer, and it's classic, he goes, ha 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 ha, I thought it was funny. He'd walk down the street in Canada, and when a wind came, the wind would grab that one good ear and spin him around and around. And he was great. I loved him. What a great
Mr. Apter, I probably have a bit of a surprise for you here. One of my dear friends I've never met him in person. Herb Simmons says to tell you hello. Big shot promoter in the St. Louis area. Used to book Ox Baker of all people.
Herb, let me ask you this: if you're listening, are you going to be at the NWA 73 back at the Chase? You mentioned St. Louis. That I didn't want to plug anything, but where he
plug anything you want. That's why you're here, man. Plug whatever you want. You and Mr. Apter both.
No,
Herb, hello, first of all. Herb has become the person, and I don't know what kind of title this is, but when someone passes away, Herb calls me instantly. Sometimes I hear it from him, so I want to thank him for doing that. But Herb and I always commiserate about these terrific people. Herb had me down in St. Louis many years ago and gave me a beautiful award and put me in their Hall of Fame there. And Herb is just a great straight up guy, and he's got a really nice wife too.
Herb watches so many of my podcasts, and when he heard me telling stories about Ox Baker, he sent me pictures of him in studio when Herb was promoting and booking Ox Baker in the St. Louis area. And Ox was just one of my favorite wrestlers.
That Herb was hooked up in the last few years with Bert Prentice.
Now, I didn't know that. Know that. And Bert was a dear friend of mine as well. Bert was scheduled to be on this show in 2 weeks.
Herb was brought in by Bert to help him work the shows in Tennessee. And Herb and Bert became
I'll be darned. I didn't know that.
Very close. Yeah.
Yes, we will be at the Chase promoting the wrestling at the Chase book there, Aaron.
That's great. Well, awesome. You know what, Herb, if you get a chance to see me, please just, find me if you can and say
Aaron, are you going to be there in St. Louis during that time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Shit, maybe me and Chris might, I don't do a lot of long road trips these days, but maybe me and Chris might need to look into that.
That would be cool. That would be
really, really cool. Billy Corgan's show, the NWA show?
Yes, it's for NWA, yeah.
I was tentatively going to be there, but I couldn't get off from my day gig
Well, tell him I said you can have the day off. I got a lot of stroke. Where you live?
No, but sometime maybe October and November, and also COVID needs to calm down again.
Yeah, well, of course. And being in St. Louis, we have reason to be worried. Reason to be a little worried in that St. Louis market. We gotta get people getting their vaccination shots. Well, that'd be cool, man, because I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah.
And boy, wouldn't it have been cool as hell if Mr. Apter were there as well.
Well, we will try and arrange a trip.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. And I think, again, with the NWA now, I mean, it's kind of cool because, and I'm actually interested on both of your takes on this, with like the resurgence of the NWA and the current climate of the business, right? Just to where I say the business, depending on your opinion, has either evolved or devolved, you know, into like something that is getting further and further away from what's great about the business, which is storytelling. And when I say storytelling, I'm talking about characters. I'm talking about, you know, angles and storylines with long-term payoffs and twists and turns. And when you're so emotionally invested in the characters that everything else is almost inconsequential. And I say that not in the sense of like you can't go out there and grab a headlock for 5 minutes, but like you don't need to necessarily kill yourself every night if you can make people suspend their disbelief. And I think the proof of that is the ratings. Like, look at the ratings, how low they are, right? And
they're very low.
Wait. We're talking low for what?
Raw.
Raw's down. SmackDown's doing great, and AEW had 1.5 million people again.
They actually beat Raw recently, didn't they? Didn't they
really
beat them recently?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Out of all the shows on TV, Raw is doing. You know what? I love when people say, "Well, they're not doing well, but they still have a few million viewers."
They still have a few million viewers.
No, I mean compared to what they were.
Any money.
Yes, no, that's one thing that's not going on there. We know that.
Well, back in the day, in the Attitude Era, on one night of wrestling between
to your point here is that the as I mentioned with AEW, I would love to see the NWA get some TV time, unstreaming. I'm talking about on regular TV. For example, their NWA. Women's champion Camille, who was fabulous, was on AEW this week.
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope that maybe these other groups other than WWE, because they don't get involved with anyone, will start bringing these other people in, which will translate to streaming as well.
Yeah, I mean, and if anything else, you know, the NWA, it is an alternative. You know, it's the old school mentality with, you know, the new school feel. Like, you're still going to get action and everything else like that. Like, we're not trying to make believe it's 1985, but we're kind of taking the components of what made the wrestling business so awesome back then and getting invested. And, you know, to your point, Bill, I ask you this. When I left the WWE, I didn't watch the product for a while. And I kind of was out of it for a while. I was over a friend's house, but this was 2 or 3 years after I left, right? He was getting a pay-per-view, and I was completely shocked because I'm sitting there and I said, let me watch this. The moment when your music hits, and there was that, you know, and you can see it too, to where people, like, they get up on their feet, they start cheering or start booing, right? Like, you see the reaction in the fans. There was 2 people on the show that got that kind of a reaction, and it was Truth and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And that is missing. Like, and so to me, it's the lack of investment in the characters, and that could be, you know, a management issue, that could be a creative issue, and that could also be, you know, the characters not knowing how to get over it, and most likely it's a combination. But I mean, if you take a guy like Aleister Black, how is that guy not the WWE champion? I mean, I just it blows my mind how they can look at
yet he made such an impact on.
Oh my God, and just talented, can work with anyone. You know,
this is what's blowing me away, fellas, because I have not caught on to that wagon. I said that I stated early on that I did not see him being a star in the WWE. And when he went to AEW, I said, what a waste of time and a waste of money. Now, boy, there's something I'm not seeing that you two are. You all probably watch a lot more of it than I do.
They knew what they were doing with him. He was a surprise element.
Yeah.
And the thing where he went right after Cody Rhodes and shocked everybody.
Yeah,
right.
And that then so they know how to play. The other thing is regarding the NWA, which I think is still an incredible high brand, is that the wrestling fan has changed as well. The wrestling fan, where NWA, when I was growing up, I couldn't wait to see Jack Briscoe against Dory Funk Jr. in a 1 hour or a 90-minute match. The wrestling fan today cannot sit and watch a 90-minute match.
Oh, no, without a doubt. Like the attention span of society has gotten much shorter, you know, and we look at like Instagram, right? We're like, oh, a 2-minute video, and we just want it like boom, 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 boom. Like our attention span has become so short. And, you know, with the NWA.
Speak for yourself. I won a 5.5 hour baseball game.
Well, you're doing an 8 hour show right now.
Yes, I am.
You know, hey.
I guess that speaks for itself. Yeah.
Yes. But like, you know, the matches, they are catered towards today is what I'm saying. It's, you know, we have some great talent, like, you know, Ricky Starks, who later went on to AEW. Just like look at the current talent we have, and you know there's always surprises. But you know where the business model, it's we understand that it's 2021, but like some of the romantic elements of that old school NWA, right, and even the era, it's cool because we're not afraid to go there. Like the question mark, you know, God rest his soul. Like he was. Yeah. It was a chance that Billy took to like, okay, we're going to see if this guy, like, it's 1985, like, go be the Dream Machine. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff, to where I think, to me, that's just a refreshing thing, to where they will take the chance and say, you know what, we're going to do it this way, and we're going to see what the fans think. And that kind of was what got me back in, to where like, okay, if like I have the opportunity to be a part of something that is, it's just different, and it's like in 2021, it's kind of blazing its own trail.
Yeah, and the heavyweight championship doesn't change hands every 3 weeks.
Exactly, and that's such an important thing.
You have a great Nick Aldis is a great looking and great in the ring. He carries himself like a world championship.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
What Dutch Mantel was telling me recently, we were doing SmackDown post shows, and we did a couple of those back to back. And the thing that Dutch liked, that WWE was finally looking like they were starting to do, is bring in some new talent. And I have to admit, we've been seeing the same names going across from each other for years and years and years. We're just not getting enough new developed talent that the people.
Kenny, I was watching Raw Monday night. Yeah, this is the first time this has happened to me. I watch Raw, AEW, and I watch everything. This is the first time ever when I was watching Raw, I said, I don't know who some of these people are. Jinder Mahal had these guys in the ring with Drew McIntyre. I was totally confused.
Yeah.
Bill, what does that say? You know what I mean? What does that say? And it's not like they don't know how to build stars. Like if you look at like Edge, Christian, even going back further to like the 80s, right? And the early to mid 90s, you know, you air vignettes. You say so-and-so's coming, or when you bring someone in, they make an impact for a while. You know, like you get to know them. You get to know their entrance music. You get to know their finisher. You kind of get to know, and then like when it's time to get into a feud with someone or work the pay-per-view match, it's like, okay, like this is the emotional investment I have made, you know? And that to me is just like, it's so sad because people know how to do it. And I say WWE knows how to do that.
They sure do.
They're just doing themselves and the talent such a disservice.
Let me tell you a point that I made a couple of weeks ago, and you were talking about they know how to develop talent. They've done it before. But who have they developed to take the ball since John Cena?
Well, no, and here's the thing. You cannot, in my opinion.
And Cena's a special case. I mean, there's not a lot of John Cena's
They're
out there.
more invested in the brand than the franchise player, like a Cena or a Hulk Hogan or something like that. They're more invested in the name WWE. That's what counts.
Without a doubt.
Because still to this day, if you can name everybody on that roster, But if you play Stone Cold's music, that's the biggest pop. If you play the Rock's music, that's the biggest pop.
Without
if you play the Undertaker's music, that's the biggest pop. If you play Bret Hart's music, and Bret Hart actually comes out, or Shawn Michaels, you name all the old guys, they get the biggest pop of the night.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody now that we hit their music and that they overshadow the old developed star. And of course, Cena. He came back, and hell, we're not even getting as many Cena sucks chants these days. They hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
He's over. Yeah. He's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
why has that happened? I mean, you're a couple of experts in this field. Why has that happened? Why are we not developing anybody new? It's not like the talent's not out there. It's got to be out there.
What a uniformity in training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree
when
with
you
that.
train everyone under the same roof, the same roof. Now you can have different instructors. Right now, look, we're just going to be very honest. Right, the wealth of knowledge at the Performance Center, in terms of who the coaches are. There's nowhere else on the planet collectively that has that amount of knowledge combined with resources, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, right? Like past that level at the top, right? At the very top,
name me who the top 5 trainers and developers are right now, because I may not know.
Steve Carino.
Okay.
Adam Pearce, I believe, still does that.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, yeah.
Okay.
Terry Taylor.
All right.
Right. Norman Smiley, who I tell you what, the guy never got the credit he deserved. As a wrestler, if I was just starting out in the business, I would go to Norman.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to say he's not a great trainer and a great developer, maybe not even a great talent. I'm looking at, will I pull money out of my pocket to buy a ticket to see him? Norman Smiley does not even come close to making that list.
Well, not now. I mean,
not then.
No, but
ever.
To train people for what
ever.
Norman does, to train people to teach them how to wrestle, right? Like if I've never wrestled before, right? If I'm a football player and I go in there, I need to learn how to lock up. I need to learn hammer locks. I need to learn different things, transitions. Norman's the guy. Now, if I'm looking how to draw money, well, hey, Sean, can you come here for a minute? I need to talk to you.
Yeah,
you know,
right. I agree.
I want to ask Bill.
Plus Hunter's there.
I want to ask Bill after a question. Bill, was there ever a day that if Norman Smiley were booked in the main event on a card, regardless of who it was against, you would have been willing to pull out $20, $50, or $150?
No, I get a press pass, so you can't ask me.
Well, no, but this time you don't. You got to pull money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Would you pull money out of your pocket?
Probably, because if I'm interested in seeing a good talent in wrestling, keep in mind one thing that I want to bring up here in terms of the trainers and all that you have people like Drew McIntyre who still want to put on a good wrestling match. WWE is not in the wrestling business. They're in the sports entertainment business. This is why they say AEW is not competition to them.
Well, apparently they are.
Okay. Well,
apparently
I'm
they
just
are.
telling you what they're saying. But you do have in WWE, you do have guys that are being fine-tuned by people like Norman Smiley that are better off in the ring because of the training of he and.
Well, I won't deny that. I was just talking about Norman Smiley as a
I mean, I enjoyed him when he was in WCW.
Well, no, I mean, yeah,
Aaron would know way more about his training ability than I would.
Yeah, and if you look at Norman's career in Mexico, you know, I would argue that point, right? I mean, we could have this conversation about anyone, but like what I was saying in my point, right? When like you have Triple H there on the TV tapings and stuff like that, where like there is truly a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
and when the person at the top is controlling it, like if we're sailing, right? If we're on a sailboat, when we have a crew that we're going to take the boat out.
When are we going to do that? We keep talking about it.
I know. Well, you can Wednesdays at Ventura Harbor. That's what we do here. Seriously,
I'll meet you as long as there's no seafood.
So if we were in a sailboat race, we could have the best crew, right? We could have the most efficient people to haul the sail up, pull the ropes, take the starboard side, all the boat talk.
Yeah,
but if the person steering the ship has a blindfold on,
is a blithering idiot. Yeah,
we ain't going to win the race.
That's right.
And also, if you've never had to really kind of like be in the ocean, like be thrown over the boat in the ocean, and oh my God, you literally have to sink or swim for your life.
Well,
there's a certain element there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, but there's a certain element there that I think is missing, to where like when you're constantly under a microscope and you're afraid to fail, and that's just the nature of that place.
Yeah.
You know, oh my God, like they want to keep people job scared to a degree, you know, and use it as motivation.
I would not deny that.
Now, listen, before I have to leave soon because actually SmackDown is coming on, and what they've done.
I don't recall
Reigns,
granting you permission to leave, but okay.
No, what they've done with Roman Reigns
that's pretty good.
I mean, he's better than pretty good.
What are they doing?
He had X-Pac heat at one time where they just wanted him to go away, and now
what they've done with him now as the head of the table and his whole attitude, he's
good.
He's a star. He is a star now. There's
Aaron,
no doubt.
you haven't seen him?
No. But
I
got to
check him out, man. He's light years ahead of where he was.
That's awesome.
Become the best heel in the WWE. He's got a snarky attitude. Paul Heyman is his manager.
That's great.
Everybody hates him. He's excellent. He's not good. He's absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with Bill. I would agree with Bill on that.
Now, you were talking about NWA, and before I go, I want to make a point. One of the best things that they did, in my opinion, is they brought Austin Idol back, right?
100%.
Oh, God, you talk about someone, and do you talk with him at all?
I speak with him twice a week for about an hour a pop. Okay, we have become the best of friends.
Do me a favor and tell him I was asking for him.
I will.
He was one of my son's favorites, too.
I've been friends with him since Mike McCord was in the plane crash.
Wow.
All the way back. I still have the audio tape of him a week after that talking to me. But he and I were at one of Joe Pedicino's conventions ages and ages ago. He and I broke into an interview with the NWA champion. I forgot who it was at that time. And he did an improv interview, and he was so good. He has got not just a wealth of knowledge, but you put a microphone in front of him, and there's no one better.
Bill, I need Austin Idol on this show. He's my son said that Idol should have got the run that Hulk Hogan got. He
100%.
That much.
Okay, wait, stop.
100%.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All the interviews I did with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan told me everybody thinks that I patterned my career after superstar Billy Graham, and that was not true. My guy was Austin Idol.
I'll be damned. That is great. That my son will
Idol
love to hear
Mania
that.
before
That is
Hulkamania.
great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idol Mania
tell him
before
I was
Hulkamania.
asking for him.
Austin Idol was a hell of a performer, man. I got to watch
And
a
still
lot of him
is.
and Paul. And man, I gotta see him. You got to help me get him on this show. That would make Christopher's life.
Oh yeah, no,
I love Austin Idol, and tell him we said hello.
I want to be on when you have him on, please.
Absolutely. Help me make it happen. Absolutely, I'd love that.
All of us, gentlemen. I've got to leave.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting and I hope the cause that what we're doing this for is successful. And Kenny, I think you deserve a lot of credit for making.
Thank you for
happen.
that. Well,
and Aaron, hopefully,
and we haven't done too badly today. Bob Hazelwood, by matter of fact, shout out to him. He's looking to be in St. Louis for this convention. I might try and get there myself. And Jerry Lawler's going to be there, so hell, both Kings should be there. I think, don't you?
Well, I know that guy. I know that guy very well.
You do. You absolutely do.
Yeah.
So, let's make that Austin Idol thing happen. My son would just die to see that. He would love that.
Great. Hopefully, I'll see you in St. Louis later this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's only 5 hours from here, so yeah, we can handle that.
So it's a lot more than 5 hours from where I am. So
from
as
you.
They would say in the business, get me booked.
Nothing wrong with that.
I do an hour and a half one-man show based on my book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken.
Yeah, I've heard about that book.
And I do music. I do trivia. I
don't mean to piss you off, but my book did outsell yours.
Maybe
it did. Maybe it didn't, but it's a good story.
You got mine banned from most of the stores. That was the problem.
Bill, do you know what this, I know you have to go, but do you know what this man did to me?
No. Me?
Aaron, I got a book. And now this is when I was living in Indiana on a 35-acre farm. I invite this man over to the house for a dinner. Expected nothing in return. Nothing, right? Didn't
what
want.
You got.
He goes, Idol, I have a signed copy of my book. Thank you, because Kenny calls me Idol. After Austin Idol, of course, which is another reason why Austin's greatest of all time.
But of course,
he hands me the book, and it's signed, which, okay, I get it. But I read it, and it says, to Aaron, all the best, Kenny Bolin.
Yeah.
And there was a couple things wrong with this. Number one, the man has never called me Aaron in my life.
Never.
Number two, we had a conversation about the way I spell my name, which is A-R-O-N. This Aaron was spelled with 2 A's.
Yeah.
Number three,
a wasted A, yeah.
Knowing him the way I know him, there is no way in God's creation that he would sign a book to me like
As
all
Aaron.
the best, Kenny Bolin. No, like there would be an inside joke or something.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. A day or two passed, I called him, I said, King, let me ask you something. I go, what's with the book? He goes, do you like it? He goes, no. You signed it, and I tell him, well, all right, you got me. Truth be told, someone ordered a book, and I made it out to the wrong person, so I just gave you that one. And I said, you know what? I wouldn't want it any other way.
He even offered to take the book back and read. He says, no, King, I want this book.
I wanted that one. Yes.
He sent me one. It was also signed Aaron with 2 A's.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I got carried away on that.
Thank you. And Aaron, do me a favor, because Kenny and I are in touch, but friend me on Twitter. I'm at Apter One Wrestling on Twitter.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
All right? So
I'm sorry. I got you blocked on Twitter, but I'll unblock you tonight.
No, you know, I'll do that right now, Bill. It's Apter One.
The number one, Apter One Wrestling.
Okay, very cool. I'll do that right now.
And thank you all.
I love you, Bill. And by the way, Maya, my daughter-in-law, loves you. She thinks you remind her of her grandfather. No offense. No, and she wanted to be here tonight so bad, but in Germany, she's 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So I
thought she was in. Oh, she's in Germany.
She's in Germany right now, getting ready to head to London.
If I remind her of her grandfather, what of my personality, what did he do that's similar to what I bring out?
I got a joke right now that you would never come back on my shows.
I always come back on the show.
Bill, get out now.
But she adores you. Bill, get out now. But she adores you, and she said to give you her love.
Well, send my love back and tell her.
Absolutely.
Come and visit.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's such a pleasure to finally have you on the Bolin Alley.
Likewise.
I greatly appreciate it.
How do I sign out of here now?
I just kick you out and you go away. So let me
that's
take care of it.
Okay.
There you go.
Aaron, do me a favor, though. Before we talk again, you need to go online, and my website is onewrestlingvideo.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's a YouTube station, but it's on that. And also go and check out recent Roman Reigns stuff.
Yeah, no, I will check out. Thank you.
I want you to see why he is the head of the table.
No, I always knew he would.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Christopher
would
tell you the same thing. You won't regret it. And Mr. Hazelwood, giving you a last shout out there before you go. Mr. Apter, we did say here at the Bolin Alley, we said good day. There we go.
Well, that was cool.
Well, thank God we got rid of him. Just me and you now.
No, that was so great. What an unexpected, pleasant surprise.
I got to kick Bill out here so he can go do his thing, and he's gone. There we go.